about 80% of the garage floor stays painted. Where we drive on it, not so much. It was a hot mess before we moved in, and just trying to make it clean and get it a little bit cleaner, just doing some touch-up paint before we host Easter. Isn't that how that goes? If you want to be able to clean your house really well or touch up anything or fix anything, just invite people over for a visit. It actually touched it up before on Thanksgiving time, not this much. We didn't drive in it like the winter. So it did tone down. It will tone down. It's the same color. It's just how it aged. Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Yvonne, and along with my husband Chris, we do behind the scenes of our regular YouTube channel. So we share with you the process of going to auctions, doing house renovations, DIYs, or sometimes just redecorating, doing some inspirations on how I decorate my own home. So in today's video, it's just that. We just hosted Easter, and I thought, why not share with you? I don't know about y'all, so when I start cleaning, the next thing I know, because I was hosting Easter, I'm like, well, I want to change this out, or I need to clear this space so we can set food here. And next thing you know, I'm redecorating hutches and whatnot. So in today's video, we're going to share that with you, because since we're resellers and I'm constantly flipping items and we're constantly shopping, you're always adding new items into your own home decor. And then, yeah, you got to rearrange stuff. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. So if you've been watching our videos regularly, you know that I stole a mirror for another area in my house. Don't we all do that? Use something somewhere else when you get inspired. You think it was going to look better in a different space. And I needed to find another mirror for our entryway where you'd enter the house, you take your coat off. And I told y'all we would find another one. So no, I did not pay $75. I got it at a half price estate sale. Still pricey, but it's a beautiful old mirror. So not necessarily my vibe. The gold trim doesn't really fit in with how I decorate my own home. So what do we do when it's not our vibe, y'all? We paint it to match our own decor. So I've got Fusions paint in the coal black, and the nice thing about with this paint, with a paint primer and top coat all in one, really, I think I'm only going to probably have to use one coat, maybe some touch up, but all I did was clean this off, and then we'll clean the glass and we'll get it rehung where people can look at themselves when they enter the house. So does anybody else in the middle of cleaning kind of take a step back, and we're supposed to be cleaning, but the next thing you know, I'm gathering up secondhand finds, and I'm going to start a different display. Chris had his metal trucks up here, but he got a new cabinet to put them in, so now I get to redecorate this space. I'm not sure if I'm keeping that sign up there right now, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and redecorate that. Cleaning day, hosting Easter. So I don't know about you all, but next thing you know, I'm redecorating, adding some of the things that I thrifted in. So Chris actually got a cabinet that he's been wanting. So I'm taking this space back to redecorate it. I know my hair's a mess, but it is cleaning day. I don't know about you, I don't look all prettied up just because it's cleaning day. So yeah, now I got all these little treasures to add in here. Oh, I cannot wait to. I made it this far, not into my living room yet, but I already just really decorated that space a little while ago. This is a dark area, bad lighting. Do you wonder where Chris's toys went? Yes, Chris collects metal, old metal, Tonkas, Buddy L's, Stratos. So recently at an auction, a state auction, he came across this beautiful banister cabinet, gorgeous, and I said to him, you don't have anything at the top of the steps. Would you like to display your beautiful vintage metal toys in them? And I think it looks absolutely gorgeous, and you can see it from the bottom of the stairs, and it's something, thing about home decor, it's personal. It's things that you collect, that you love, that you just don't want to part with quite yet. So I think they display in here beautifully, though there's a terrible reflection going on in the glass. So I don't know about everybody else that collects antiques. I noticed that, I mean, yeah, you have to dust them, but they don't seem to show the dust as much. I guess white, black of course does, but like the wood just kind of blends in. And I love my dried sweet Annie, but man, dried flowers can be so messy sometimes. Um, you know, every time you move it, a little bit more falls off, but yep, it's time to dust. That's the hard thing when you decorate a lot, like I do or others do. Yeah, you got to move it all, and it never quite goes back up the exact same place that you had, or you got a new piece and you want to add that piece in, or you think this piece will look better somewhere else in another little vignette. But I don't mind dusting because I get to redecorate. And sometimes my decor is really that trash to treasure. It's one man's junk is another person's treasure is so true. What others think should just go into the burn pit or thrown in the trash. I love pieces and parts, and it may not make sense, but once you group them all together, they just have my heart. So I really love these chamber pots. I know that sounds funny. They're huge. They take up a lot of space. I just thrifted this one. It doesn't have the handle. So I actually have a broken one that I can change the handle out for. Why not? It's cracked. I can still use it, but since this one is in really good condition, I'm going to go ahead and change the handle. So see, this one is cracked, but it has a handle. So I think it will work. Yep, I don't think the chamber pot cares that it has a different handle. Not meaning I won't use this, but I recently thrifted this and I want to add this in. That's why I'm not sure if that sign back there will stay or not. So I'm just going to start adding stuff in and then I'll just tweak it around. The balls, the white, not sure about the tin. Yeah, I'll play around and then I'll share with you what I did. This piece. Like that color. This one either. I wanted white up there, but maybe I don't want as much white up there. I kind of like, you know, how this is starting to look. It's fun to play. I like the boot, but it's a little hard to style. Together. Black clock, no clock, white clock, no, that sticks out too much. Black clock, salvaged clock, salvaged clock, Maybe.
Place
New wire on the back of it. It's going the same place for right now. See, I told you all we'd find another mirror. Maybe you're not low enough. Go, new mirror hung up. Found the replacement for the one I stole. Oh, it is funny. I had to clear off a whole buffet because that's our dessert area for Easter, and a lot of the stuff I stole from other places. I thought I was going to do ironstone on here, but the next thing you know, look at, there's not even a piece of ironstone on this cupboard, and I just absolutely love it. Yes, you do hear a clock ticking. Chris loves mantle clocks. This one on this shelf is from 1912. And then I have a passion for some reason. I don't know. What we love is what we love. I love baby Bens, big Bens, clocks. I've narrowed it down to just be picking those up. Clock faces, clock parts. And somehow I've started collecting these little brass copper piggy banks. Recently picked up this spool cabinet at an antique store for $100 because it was worse for wear. But being who we are, and Chris with his talents, he's going to go ahead and share with you how he's going to fix this problem.
This is the problem we have to solve, how it's rounded off.
Not only is the wood warped, but it does have some cracking going on. You know, we left it at first and then we toured the whole antique mall and then we both were like, you know what, $100. If you've ever priced out a spool cabinet, the vintage Clark spool cabinets, you know that they go for hundreds of dollars. So $100 seems like a deal. This one probably sat way too long where it got moisture, probably in a barn or someplace. Anyway, so Chris was up to the challenge to try to fix this top so it does not have quite the sway on it.
Well, while I'm fixing it, I might as well fix this front lip too. I'm gonna take this off, and then after I get it flattened out, I will glue it and clamp it back on. They use nails on it, and that just allows crud to get in between. So I'll pop the nails out, clean this off both surfaces, and re-glue it. All right, so to try to get this to lay flat, I'm gonna put small grooves underneath in 2 spots, see if that helps out. It should relieve some of the pressure from underneath.
can already tell that it's laying much flatter. All that did was just remove a little minute section, 2 sections where it was starting to turn, and look at how that just is helping it lay nice and flatter anyway. Not perfect, but a lot better. I would just call this character. Is it completely flat? No. Is it smiling at you anymore? No. But character. It's an old piece and it looks beautiful. Chris glued back on that front piece. I'm just removing the clamps because I decided that I should probably clean it up. One thing about it being bought, it wasn't clean. Every time you touched it, it still had dirt on it. We kind of displayed it in our house because we kind of had to take it in and think about it for a while. Love where it is, but it is dirty. Yeah, I like patina as much as the next guy, but you can see staining, you can see dirty. There's yucky in the inside of it. So my job now is to go ahead and get it cleaned up. And I want to see if I can pop the wording, but I can tell from the inside that some kind of like a blue ink maybe has been spilled in the inside. Okay, so Chris fixed the top so it's laying flat and it's not so warped. So that trick worked. Now I want to see if I can brighten up the wording that's left on here. It's really faint. So I'm gonna try a little bit of rubbing alcohol and some Q-tips, very gingerly with a wet wipe. I don't want to remove it by any means, but I want to brighten it up so you can see it a little bit better without disturbing it being so vintage. So I'm just gonna dip my Q-tip maybe because my bottle's all the way down. And there we go. And then we're just going to go ahead and see if we can ever so slightly clean it just a little bit to get those words to pop a little bit more. That's the thing with these spool cabinets that people like, these little drawer sets. It's the wording. It's a lot of the wording. Just gotta take your time, not rush it. So really, alcohol kind of acts like a stripper. Like if you have a water stain on a piece of furniture, you can very gingerly not pour it on because you'll start stripping too much. I've been down that road before, but it's getting this built up dirt out just a little bit more. I should just pour some of it into the lid. And then here's where it goes terribly wrong. I decided, well, I'm just going to take this wet wipe and just wipe it off. I should not have done that. Whatever that blue substance was that leaked onto all this paper, can you see the blue? The blue is probably what ate the labeling away, which started to disintegrate whatever paper was left. I should have just left it good enough at the alcohol, but I didn't. Nope. And the blue, just every time I touched it, every time I moved, it just kept coming off. So y'all, the next thing you know, so when it dried, this is what it looked like. Oh, my heart was sad, but it is what it is. I created my own mess. You couldn't see the labeling anyway. The entire, we were just trying to brighten it up. So the decision had to be made to remove what was left on there. And I really wanted to spend the time to clean the really dirty porcelain knobs anyway. So, yep, remove the knobs, and then I'm going to take a scraping tool and I'm going to go ahead and scrape whatever paper is left. I know, I'm probably getting some eyeballs right now, like, I can't believe you're doing that, but wait. It's always a hard decision when it comes to antiques to make this step. It looked terrible. You couldn't see it at all at first. At all. So it was just a hard decision when I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to scrape this all off. And not only scrape it, but then take sandpaper and make sure I get all the paper residue off. Went to the interweb, I looked up the Clark spool cabinets, I tried to see what the wording was supposed to say to get my visual, my idea, my inspiration of what I needed to do. Now I have done a reproduction, one of these, on a chest of drawers that I was given to from a viewer, and recently we found it at an antique mall for three times the amount we sold it for, which is really kind of funny. And actually, I should be honored that they thought it was vintage. So I thought, you know what? I think I can reproduce. I think I can match up. Not a complete match, but I can match up what should have been on there using my Cricut. So you would think that you'd want to do this shape. But once you stretch that shape out, this is what that shape does. So no, nix that. That did not work. I'm like, it looks like it, but it's not. So what I ended up having to do is take 2 circles and a rectangle and then made it, because that was just making more of a submarine, we're going to call it. And once I got my shape, I could go ahead and weld the 3 of these pieces together to make the shape that I needed. Now that I have my shape, I'm going to go ahead and type out my text. And then I was just trying to match up like a vintage, just nothing extravagant. You could see the wording, the font. There's so many fonts on the Cricut. It's you spend a lot of time just searching fonts, I notice, on the Cricut. I couldn't just type out my whole word because I needed to fill in that space, and then I needed to match up where that rounded oval was on, because as you saw, it left a stain. It wasn't, I needed to fill in that space. So I had to individually go in and measure each one of my letters to get them to fit the space. So they were all size appropriate. Was it easy? Time consuming. I'm not going to say once I figured out the way that I needed to do it, it wasn't bad, but it was time consuming, but well worth the time, to me anyway. So I measured out each one of the spaces. Is it going to be perfect? It's going to be pretty darn close, I think. I'm sure it's not going to be the exact shape, but I was pretty happy that I could cut it out on vinyl. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do basic black. I'm just going to do basic black paint once I get it attached to to my Yeah, I had to make sure I really got this cleaned up, but at least I'll have some good lettering. I'm not doing any fancy like little gold like I did on the other one that I did. I'm just doing basic black. As you see, I mean, the edges from the top and the bottom are just barely on there, but that's how the original spool lettering was. Okay, so once I take off my vinyl, we'll see what we have. If there's a little bit of free edge, you know what? I'm just going to go back and hand paint the black in, because I know even if I did some restore and finish on it, it's still not going to match. It's going to darken up the other area. So I'll just touch it up with some paint. The one thing, when I was painting it in the black, I did a dry brush technique. I knew this wood is really porous. It was going to soak that paint in. I didn't want it to be raised and bumpy. So it's not. It turned out beautiful, but I am sanding it just with some steel wool, the fine grit steel wool, to make sure that everything is nice and smooth so it looks like it's been on there for a while. But you can just read it. Then I'll go over the whole thing with some restore and finish. Now, if I would have thought about it, it was kind of hard just to stay on the black. I may not have necessarily gone over my letters. I'm not sure how I would have done that. Anyway, because it did darken my letters up, but sometimes it's just going to be what it's going to be. But yes, now I need to get the rest of the body of this cleaned out. I told you it wasn't really clean when we picked it up into the antique mall. Well, not the clean that we would have cleaned. And then after I gave this a good cleaning, now I'm going in on the whole body and I'm doing some restore and finish. And I like old Bettina as much as the next guy, but there is something about these spool cabinets. It did need to be freshened up. Is this the restore job? I guess you could call it that. I don't really necessarily always consider Chris and I restorers. We're fixer of things to try to make them look their best. So I feel like that's what we were doing here, trying to make this old spool cabinet look like it was ready for church on Sunday. I only have one more thing that I want to do. I want to clean the inside of the drawers. They're not necessarily going to be clean, just freshen them up. You know that this word is dry. Something had chewed on the corner of that. I'm not fixing that character, calling that character. So I'm using some of the Wise Owl salve. Have you all used this? Oh my goodness, it is the lemon scent, and it is amazing. Now, I've always used like the Restore Citrus to freshen up drawers, but I don't know, I might change over after I use that up. I got this little sample just to give it a try, and oh my goodness, I loved how it was absorbing in. I loved how it was freshening, and the smell, I'm a citrusy, lemony smell person anyway. It was just yummy. After I did some soaking, I think I got the porcelain knobs as clean as they're going to be. Some of them are a little bit damaged, but it'll be what it'll be. It's a restoration job, I guess. So just getting these screwed back in. And for right now, this is a piece that we're keeping for ourselves. There's Chris carrying a big stick. Wonder what he's gonna do with that stick. Okay, it's treated lumber, so it's gonna be staying out here. Actually, we're finally gonna put up our bird feeders for the cats, and I think this will be a good area. Even though it's the front yard, this is the windows they like to look out. So yeah, we'll probably just landscape around it. Yeah. So those are the two windows the cats like to sit in.
There's Tater right there.
Oh, here's Tater right there looking at us like, oh my gosh, run away. He's so brave until somebody comes up to the window. So, yeah. He's trying to be brave now. Well, how did I get on the other side? But we thought it'd be nice if they got to watch birds and other animals. He's very confused. Are you confused, Tater? Hi. And as you can hear, that road beside me is so busy. No in and out cat at all. Nope. There comes another car. It is just, this road is so busy. He's very curious. He's like, hey, I recognize that person out there. Why are you out there and I'm in here? The things we do for animals. So let's see. So all of our, like, the bird food has been, hey, at least we get to check this off the list. The bird feeders will get to go up. The tile's not done yet, but like, the bird feeders will get to go up. We'll see what birds we get.
Is that too tall?
Nope, I think that's good. Same hooks as we had in the other house. Nothing fancy. Birds don't really seem to care. Oh, that one's gonna be high. Yeah, that's gonna be high. That one's not coming down. We'll see what, well, we don't know what kind of birds we have here, so. There we go. Now just to fill them. Looks good. Thank you, honey. Well, it really didn't take too long. We already got 2 little birdies at the feeder. Like I said, birds don't care. You don't have to do anything anything fancy whatsoever. You know, it's out in the weather. It'd be nice to have something cute, but this is what worked at our last house, and we're hoping that it works for this house. And do the cats notice the birds? Oh my gosh, look at Tater thinking that that bird can't see. See him? Oh my gosh, it's so stinking cute. I just love it. Can't get the birds by any means, but they can watch them. So now they both sit out there in the morning, constantly waiting for some birds to come and eat at the bird feeder. I am entertained by their happiness of watching birds. I had a viewer come all the way from the UK, Kathy, just to, well, she came for her family in Wisconsin, but she also made the trip from Wisconsin to Michigan to check out my booths here at Hog Creek. That's where we're at. Music was playing in the background, so I ended up having to do a voiceover. So that, oh my gosh, I was so humbled that she would even consider coming in our area. But then she was also on her way to go in the Thumb area, and I believe it's Flea Market Rescue. She was going to go see those YouTubers too. What a great adventure. So thank you so much for watching the Journey channel, behind the scenes of what Chris and I have going on. Yeah, auctions lead into not only reselling and doing that kind of stuff, but it also, the fun part is you get to find these unique items that you have always kind of like, for me, I've seen on Instagram posts going, oh, I would love one of those. And the next thing I know, I'm at an auction and I'm probably going a little crazy on the bidding because I'm like, I really want to add that into my own home decor. And then sometimes you get it for a steal. You just never know. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope that you had a wonderful Easter. I know this is a week late. Well, you know, that's just how it goes. We're kind of like a week-to-week kind of person. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope I inspired you in any way just how I decorate, how I change my mind. Yep, I just love decorating. I love buying. I love shopping. And luckily, I have a husband that supports me in that because I think he likes to shop too. So thanks again for watching. We will see you next time, and you can see what we're up to. Bye.